last time that I did that with the imitation butter and my version of just eggs, it held up really nice and fluffy, and they loved it.
Wow.
Leftover, I made I put it in the flaky pastry cups.
Yeah.
I did a version and put it inside there too.
Ooh.
I'm the only vegan in my family, so they loved it.
Oh my God, now how many, could you guys hear what she was saying? So what's interesting about that is that you use lentils as the binding. That's interesting, I would have never thought of that. I have done a version where I've used butternut squash as the binding. Right, because it's kind of the same color, kind of puts that binding. It did the same thing. For like the butter, I just use Miyoko's butter. That's my favorite butter. I love it because it's cashews. It's probably the most natural. The list isn't like this long list of ingredients in the butter, so that's usually why I use that one a lot. But then everything else is my aunt's recipe. And I think you guys heard this story when I said my aunt. So I love to tell this story. My aunt, I'm from Chicago, Illinois. So my roots are from Arkansas, down south, right? So you got that southern stuff going on. So my aunt, I had just gotten married, and it was our first Thanksgiving, and I was like, okay, and I was vegetarian at the time. So it's like, okay, I make sweet potato pie, so I made my macaroni and cheese and did the whole thing. So I called my aunt, well, how do you make, sweet potato pie? So she gives me the ingredients. Nothing has a measurement to it. Nothing. She said, oh, put some cinnamon in there, a little nutmeg. The measurement I got was 1 egg. I said, well, how much do I put? Just put in there till it tastes right. Now, that is how I have approached cooking ever since, is just putting it in till it tastes right, right? Because as you all know, the trick or the secret sauce is seasoning of the food, right? And if you have those seasonings that can replicate what the taste that you're looking for, right? Like a lot of times is that umami taste that we're looking for with meat that you find in those foods, and you can get that umami flavor with using mushrooms and walnuts, as I'm sure most of you know, right? So how many in here use walnut meat? Walnut meat? Nobody? Okay. Have you heard of walnut meat? Okay. Walnut meat is great, right? Because it can have that texture of ground beef. When you mix it, I take it and mix the walnuts with mushrooms, and I love to use cremini mushrooms. That's my all-time favorite mushroom because it's meaty, it's got a heartier texture. If I'm not gonna use cremini, then I might use portobello, like mini portobello. I can get that little extra meaty flavor, and they stand up well. I was just telling someone today, I was like, I can't remember the last time I used a white mushroom. Like, it just feels weird to me to use white mushroom. So I use brown mushrooms. Another recipe that's one of those, okay, so I'll tell you what. Somebody throw something out that they want to veganize, and let's talk about it.
Mac and cheese.
Mac and cheese. Who said mac and cheese? Mac and cheese? Now, that's a good one to veganize. So I've done it, and I took a couple of recipes. So, okay, can I just be another honest moment? I don't necessarily create recipes, okay? I take a recipe and I tweak it to my liking. And then I say adapt it to give the credit back to the person who I got that recipe from, right? So my sweet potato pie was an adaptation of my great aunt and sweet potato sole. And I got the idea from sweet potato sole about using the butternut squash. So this mac and cheese recipe was a combination of about 3 recipes. And it is not a healthy version. So, there's a healthy version of mac. So are we talking the healthy, or are we talking about it's Thanksgiving, who gives a hoot? Huh? Okay, it's Thanksgiving and who gives a hoot? Okay, great. So with that one, you can make like a cheese sauce, right? So it was this cheese sauce with the vegan cream cheese. And my favorite cream cheese that I hope I'm not messing up that mic, is tofutti. because even though it's soy based, and I know, if you're adopting not using soy, but what I like about it is I like the texture because it's as close to a real cream cheese that I like. And I also like the tofutti sour cream because it's a nice thick sour cream. It's not, I personally don't like the runny kind. Then I feel like I'm like missing something. But I like that one. I have done Forager's sour cream. It's a little runny and it's not as thick, so it feels like so you have to trial and error, as I'm sure most of you are who've been around for a while have trial and errored a whole lot of different things, right? And you found out what you like. So with that cheese, the macaroni and cheese, obviously the big part of that recipe is the cheese, right? And that's what really makes it. Because the butter, you can get that easy, right? You can use Miyoko's butter or coconut oil. Maybe not, because you might get that taste of coconut oil. But I would probably, definitely use that. So what I did was it was a combination of this recipe with cream cheese and sour cream, which now gives you, and you melt in the cheese. The cheese I like to use is Follow Your Heart. And here's my little tweak. I'm giving y'all my secret sauce to this cheese, okay? And it can't go outside this room. Oh, it's not on? Okay, I don't know where the mic guy is. Because I don't think I hear it going either. Where was I? Oh, the secret to my mac and cheese. So who has had Follow Your Heart Gouda, smoked Gouda cheese? Bomb, right? That stuff is hecka good. You take a couple of slices, add that to your mac and cheese. You have now got Gouda mac and cheese. And if you so choose, add a little truffle oil to it. Now you got truffle oil and Gouda mac and cheese. So you can beef it up. But those are the cheeses that I like because it's a nice little melt and it make a cream sauce, right? So you melt the sour cream and the cream cheese and the cheese and make it and you pour it in there. And then you want, because who doesn't like macaroni and cheese without that crust on the top, right? So you got sprinkle your paprika, and then I take some more of that Follow Your Heart cheese and sprinkle there. Now I do a combination of cheese. I do cheddar and mozzarella. So I mix them all up there. So does that answer your question about?
Thank you.
Okay. Yeah. And then there's a healthy version where you can make a cashew cream, with nutritional yeast and red bell pepper that'll kind of give you the orangey color, the orange color. So there's that version. I've done a version of that one and that's decent, but it's not that. But I don't add any egg to that mac and cheese either. Okay, so, and definitely your cream, your milk. Okay, anyone else have something else they want to veganize, talk about?
Fried chicken.
Oh, really? Okay, well, we know that fried chicken is all in the batter, right? It's all in the batter with fried chicken. So are you looking for the taste of the batter or is it the texture of the chicken that you're looking for? Texture of the chicken. Okay. So there's two ways you can get that texture. One, you can use tofu if you're okay with soy. And here's one of the things I heard that people have done this where you've taken the tofu, you freeze it, thaw it out, freeze it one more time, thawed out, because now what it's doing is it's giving you that spongy type thing, right? The other option you can do is wheat gluten. That can give another wheat gluten. Yeah, so it looks like flour. You add water to it, and because I made sausage with it. Oh God, it was really good. It was sweet potato sausage recipe, and I had never made it from scratch. And so it was like the wheat gluten, and you put it in like playing with Play-Doh kind of thing. You add the water, you add all your seasoning and your spices, and the onions and the potatoes, and oh, it was just so good. And then and the sage, right? Because you want that little sausagey taste, right? You got to put the sage in there, and you wrap it up, and it molds into however you mold it. Okay, so you can either take it and just throw it in the pot of water and let it boil. So now when you use that wheat gluten, what it's doing is when you get it texturized, it can kind of mimic that. And that's what you get a lot sometimes when you're going out to the restaurants, right? They're either using wheat gluten or they could be using some sort of a pea protein, little things. I haven't worked with pea protein very much, but you can do the tofu as well. And then of course, It's how you dredge that bad boy, right? I mean, that's really how you dredge it. If you're looking for it to have that crispy, of course, deep frying, but if you want to try to keep it healthy, you can do it in the air fryer. Air fryer may not give you as close to that nice, because what doesn't taste good frying in a pot of deep hot oil, right? I mean, come on. So, but if you're going the whole food plant-based way, then I would do it in the air oven, in the air fryer. Wait, I'm
For doing the fried chicken, would you use portobello mushrooms or cauliflower?
Oh, actually, I almost forgot about the mushroom. You can use oyster mushrooms. And those are really good. That's a really good, because it's nice, it's light. And I did that for a boyfriend, and we had chicken and waffles. So I made us vegan chicken and waffles, and the waffles were off the chain. I even tricked my ex-husband with these vegan waffles one Christmas morning, because we all get together for Christmas morning. It's one of those mixed family type things. And because we had a daughter together, that's the only reason. So don't think I'm just hanging out with him just to be hanging out with him and his wife. I mean, come on. So it's because we have a child together. But we always kind of do Christmas morning together. And so one morning I said, I'm doing chicken, and I did waffles. And I didn't feel like making 2 batches, because I'm the only vegan in the group. And I didn't feel like making 2 batches. So I was like, you know what? I am not. I am going to make 1 batch, and I'm going to put it in 2 bowls. So when I walk in, I had 2 different versions. I said, this is the regular, and this is the vegan. And they were like, oh, wow, okay. I just kept my mouth shut. He had about 2 servings of that pot waffles. At the end of the day, I said, oh, and by the way, those waffles were vegan. What? So sometimes you can't, when you do it a certain way, no one can really tell until you tell them, right? That they won't know until you say. So it's that trickery. So, and I know we're talking about, I got off on a tangent, but it still all comes together in veganizing, right? Because it's all in how you put your flavors together to be similar, right? Because as we all know, meat has no taste, right? No flavor. Everybody's like, I cannot have meat. Well, I don't know why. You can. Because meat is nasty with nothing on it. It has no flavor, no taste, right? I mean, come on. It's not good until you season it. So you could take those same seasonings that you used for that meat, that chicken, that seafood, and use them for for what you're going to exchange it for. And so what I want us to think about in our mind, and as you're like reaching out to your friends and talking to friends and family, sometimes go ahead and trick them. My daughter to this day, I don't know if I should say that. Well, she's not going to see this. And to this day, she doesn't know that she got the vegan sweet potato pie. And she asked me, okay, so shoot me, I lied. I stretched, I didn't tell the whole truth. That's how, can I get away with that? Just not telling the whole truth. So she was like, well, you gonna make me a sweet potato pie? I was like, oh yeah. So I made a vegan version. And she said, Mommy, this isn't the vegan version, is it? I don't know, is it good? Yeah, it's good. Her and her boyfriend tore that sweet potato pie up. To this day, I still didn't tell her it was vegan. Because in her mind, she's actually had some vegan tacos and didn't know they were vegan. So, and she was a teenager. So she's 23 now. Still doesn't know. Or maybe I did tell her. But anyway, so it's in the mindset. So when we're talking to our friends, our family, strangers, coworkers, or whatever, it's being able to talk to them with an open mind about it, right? And as you become more and more strong and confident in veganizing what it is that you make, and they taste it and it tastes hecka good, they're like, oh, okay, that's great. And I can do that. So the key to veganizing are your spices. Making sure you're having the spices. And one of the things I'm sure you all know is that when you're talking to friends and family, is let them know that, you already have vegan stuff in your kitchen and refrigerator. You do, right? Somebody got some beans. You got some sage. The last time I checked, sage does not have any animal products in it. Last time I checked, cinnamon doesn't, nutmeg, none of those things have any animal products. Now, there are some spices you might want to be mindful. Like if you go to Trader Joe's and they got that cheesy one, you may want to stay away from that one. Or ranch, you may want to stay away. But I want to tell you guys, I may have mentioned this in Sonoma. The pickle spice from Trader Joe's, get it, you'll thank me later. Okay? If you like pickle, it's like a dill pickle. Put it on some popcorn, delish, right? So, butter popcorn, right? We can veganize butter popcorn. We've got great butter substitutes out there for that. I use Miyoko's butter, which is, like I said, is my favorite. Pop that on there, and if I want some cheese popcorn, I throw on some nutritional yeast. Right? If you want to have, like you got a taste for Parmesan, make yourself you can make a hemp seed Parmesan. You can use hemp seeds to make Parmesan. No, that's pesto. My bad. That's pesto. You can use cashews and a little bit of lemon juice and a little bit of salt and make your own fresh made Parmesan that you can throw on your popcorn or on top of your pasta. And so you play with that a little bit to kind of get that little tangy, fatty taste from Parmesan that you get. But you can do the same thing because that's why you do the cashews, right? Or you can use other nuts. I think you can use, what's the other nut that I've used? Pine nuts. I think I've used a pine nut. Yeah, different. It is different, but it was good. So does anybody have any questions with regards? Throw something else at me. I'm open. Throw something at you. Yes. Huh?
A vegan ranch.
Oh, vegan ranch. Yes, you can do that. So, and the key to vegan ranches is the buttermilk, right? It's the buttermilk that makes it that ranch, and then you're adding all the spices. So buttermilk you make with a cup of, your plant-based milk, whichever milk you want to use, and a tablespoon of vinegar. And then you let that sit for a little while, and that kind of sours it a little. Now, it's not going to be as sour as buttermilk, okay? Just that that's why I say when you have to have an open mind that it's not going to be exactly the same. And I think that's sometimes what people think about, that it's going to be exactly the same. It's not. It's not going to be exactly the same. One, because it's a plant. It can come very close. You can come very close to that. But it's not going to be exactly the same. It's not going to be the exact same texture. And that's okay, because when your mind is open, then you can accept it, right? And people can accept it. So I always say, preach open mind. And my mind is just help change folks' things one plate at a time, right? One plate at a time. So whatever, all the seasonings that go into ranch, but to make it the buttermilk, you would add that. And I've made it, and it's a good ranch. It's a good ranch. And in some cases, you can even use a vegan mayonnaise to add. And my favorite vegan mayonnaise is Follow Your Heart. And they have a soy-free version. Who has been having a hard time getting the soy-free version? Yeah, I'm noticing I'm not seeing it as much in the grocery stores. I'm like, what the heck? Like, that's my favorite one, is the soy-free, right? So I don't know if they just they're not making it that much anymore or what. Any other questions? Any other thing you want to veganize? Yeah? No? No? No?
I have a question that's not recipe related.
Yeah, sure.
And please don't be mad at me for this question.
Oh, no.
I hate cooking.
Oh, okay.
And I want to love cooking.
Yeah.
And you seem like you love cooking. Is there any tips that you can give me for liking or loving cooking?
Sure. So to like cooking, what types of foods do you like?
I like Mexican food, Italian food. I love to eat.
So let me ask this question then. What is it about cooking that you don't like?
It stresses me out. I feel a lot of anxiety.
And what is the anxiety where's that anxiety coming from?
Having all of the ingredients, like, oh, this might be burning, now this is happening, like doing so much at once.
Okay. So to help with that is you start off with really simple recipes. Like you can start with one pot recipes. As a matter of fact, there's a young lady here, guilty, bought it. She has a book that's one pot. It's like a sheet pan recipes. And she's selling it here for like $29.99. And so that's a great way to start. Just start with something that's like a one pot, one pan, where you don't have to manage multiple things at a time. There is a pasta dish that I made that was in one pot, where I didn't have to, have a pot to cook the pasta and then the pot to cook the sauce. It was all in one pot. So I would start out with looking for one pot meals and dishes, and then you begin to build your confidence, right? Because with every success, you're like, oh, I could do that. Then you might move up to 2 pots. Gradually move up to 2 pots and an oven. So whoa, we're doing huge things then, right? So you just take your time, and the best thing I could say is relax and know, and when you're cooking for yourself, say, okay, well, if it's burnt, then it's not like I'm giving it to anybody, right? Okay, sorry. Because through each time we fail, we succeed, right? So we have to sometimes fail to continue to succeed, right? So I say try that. Just start with one at a time, and the things that you like, right? You can make taco. You like Mexican food? You can do tacos in a pot. 5 minutes. You can do tacos in one pot. You can buy a imitation meat, or you can do like the walnut meat, right? You just need to crush your, and I will say this, a tool that's going to be your best friend in the kitchen. Those who are vegan, how many of you have a food processor in your kitchen? Okay. Can't live without that thing. That is, if I tell anybody to get started, it's have a citrus squeezer and a food processor. Whether it's a bullet or a little mini one, you can start, because I used to have a little mini one. Start with a mini one. It helps with you like chopping up things, so you're not like, right? You can pop that thing in there, done, right? And you can help with chopping your onions and all those things together. So like to make a walnut meat, you just need you would have your your walnuts, mushrooms, a little bit of red bell pepper, season it up, crush that up, and then you add your seasonings and then throw it in a pot. Now you're done with making tacos, right? Because that's the thing you're cooking. So think about, and then and I will say, I'm gonna leave my business card up here for anybody who is interested. Feel free to grab a card. I will be actually starting in 2023 virtual cooking sessions. So if you're interested and would like to know more about that, you can either 1, grab my card, or 2, you can zap your phone right here and then fill in your information, and then where's in the comment section, just say cooking session, okay? Ooh, man, I'm like on time. This is like 3 minutes. Hey! And so there'll be virtual cooking session. It's gonna be like a membership. So it'll be a certain thing each month, and then we'll give a recipe, do a session, kind of talk about it. Or if you want one-on-one sessions, we definitely got that for you as well. So feel free to pop me a line. Let me know what you guys thought about this, if this was helpful, or what you want to hear next time. Thank you guys so much for, That's all I have.
What is walnut meat? You crushed walnut?
Yes, walnuts mixed with mushrooms. Mm-hmm. Yeah. You just put them